tank the hits from the Red Drake. It's getting kind of low here. It's a little bit risky, so I'm trying to move him around. But while he's taking all the hits from that Red Drake, I'm able to clear out all the gnolls from the Fountain of Health. Any map that has a Fountain of Health, I'm almost going to say that it's that it's kind of a orc-friendly map. That's why Lost Temple lately, which normally is kind of a human-favored map or anything like that, if you're close spawns especially, having that Fountain of Health and being able to clear it and get those items relatively early, as Orc's able to do, can really help in gaining a big creep advantage, as well as, you know, you get map control having that Fountain of Health. I'm using Hex to try to stop this Red Drake. You know, actually kind of wasted it, and in hindsight, I wish I had not done that, because now I'm going to have to go back to my base with my Shadow Hunter at least, and get some clarity pots, because I definitely want him to have a good amount of mana when I'm going up against my opponent. I want to be able to hex things at will. This gold mine that I'm about to clear here is, I always get hit. You'll notice early on in the game, you probably saw that I lost a peon to it, and when I initially went in for my harassment, I got envenomed, speared, or the poisoned with my blade master when I went in for my harassment, and that slows my movement speed, so it's a pain in the butt. I always lose units to this thing, so I always try to clear the gold mine on this map that's in between me and my opponent, unless we're close spawn directly next to each other. I try to clear that out relatively quickly, although this is 10 minutes in the game. I definitely should have put some priority and cleared that a little bit earlier, because I tend to just forget to move my units around, and I have them hotkeyed to my heroes, and they'll just walk right through that. So I took a little bit of damage going from that, clearing that creep camp, and I'm just going to sit here by the Fountain of Health. Now my opponent is going to be running right by this Fountain of Health, and instantly I'm going to be able to ensnare a few of his units. I know he's going to be startled by seeing my army here. I don't think he expected it. So immediately I used the 3 raiders I had and casted ensnare on the Dryad, an Archer, and a Druid of the Talon. I wasn't really aiming for anything in particular. I was just kind of clicking like mad on all the units I can. And that's kind of the advantage, especially if you can get the surprise on your opponent, kind of surprise your opponent with those raiders, is to pop them off really quick. And usually it's kind of like an intimidation tactic. A lot of the times your opponent will try to back off. So I did notice that, I think I had scouted him out with maybe an image or something, that he had this expansion going at this location. So I did find some way of knowing that he was there. I don't remember exactly how I did it at the moment, but this is a good time to catch him at this expansion. I'm going to try to make him waste a little bit of money here. If I'm unable to kill his Tree of Life here, I at least want to be able to kill this Entangled Gold Mine. It's an easier target than trying to kill the main thing. That's why you see a lot of players will go for that initially. Use my Blade Master to try to take out any wisps that he might build, you know, to make it easy to populate here. I do have a Spirit Walker out, which is going to be really nice versus Focus Fire, and since he does have the Druids of the Talon, I'm going to be able to dispel Fairy Fire and Cyclone, and also use Disenchant on these Forces of Nature, which are like summons. Still going for this really hero focus like strategy, and I got a scroll of heal. I got a healing wave with my Shadow Hunter, which is again, combined with Spirit Link, is going to make healing wave that much more effective. The damage is going to be spread out amongst my Spirit Link units, and therefore each unit is going to kind of take a little bit rather than one unit taking a lot of that focus fire damage. So it's a really good idea when you're up against someone who's got a focus fire type ability. Like Fiends, or when you're going up against Archers or Dryads or anything like that, to use Spirit Link, and it'll help distribute the damage accordingly. I did disenchant Fairy Fire from my units at that fight from the gold mine, but I forgot to get this one raider, so if my opponent has any sense at all, he's going to see me coming here, and I still have yet to disenchant this raider. I watched this replay before, you know, trying to find replays that I want to do audio commentaries on. That's one of the biggest mistakes I think I made in this game, was not realizing. I just didn't know. I wasn't paying attention, wasn't even watching my raider, wasn't looking at my groups, whatever it was. I didn't realize that he had Fairy Fire on him. So my opponent's definitely going to be able to see me coming, and you'll notice that right there he decided to move back a little bit, try to stay in the safe haven of his base. I do make a pretty big mistake coming up here. Night Elf is, and actually any race, you don't want to fight them in their base. Ideally, you want to fight them away from your base, and you can use a lot of different tactics to kind of draw them out. Sometimes you'll use ranged heroes or ranged units to try to just attack the outskirts of their base and kind of force them out a little bit. But in this case, I kind of get cocky and I bring all my units in to try to attack his stuff. And this is going to be really bad for me because his Archers and his Druids of Talon, all his little damaged units are spread out in his base, and it's going to be really hard for me to do anything. I have been researching pillage a lot lately, pretty much right as I hit tier 2, and as soon as, you know, my stronghold's done upgrading, I'll do that. So here I popped the speed scroll. My Blade Master wasn't able to use Windwalk effectively, you know, breaking Windwalk for anything. I used Disenchant on that Entangling Roots. You can use that versus, you know, even hero abilities that do those kind of stunts. Mainly all I can think of right now is Entangling Roots. It works really well against. So I'm trying to bring my keeper. I'm bringing my units back. Now this is a good time for me to fight him. I was able to pull him away from his base, away from his Moonwells, and I actually got a surround off on his Demon Hunter, which is an ideal target at this point, and it's going to make him retreat a little bit more. As he's retreating, this is the perfect time to try to ensnare again weak units. He went out. It took me a long time to try to convince him to come out and fight me there, so I want to make sure I can get him. Here's some more ensnare abuse you'll see. I forced another TP here by his Keep of the Grove. I really wanted to get this kill on the Keep of the Grove because I haven't been able to kill him all game. So I bring these units in, and they're going to die. They were full HP units. They're going to die easily to all that focus fire. Keeper of the Grove was able to live, and I lost my Blade Master. So that was a big mistake for me to stay in that fight. My Blade Master did have a Scroll Town Portal. I believe he even had like Potion of Invulnerability or Health Pot. I just didn't use it. Wasn't paying attention again. So my opponent is, again, going to be able to see me bringing all my weak units to this gold mine here. But as soon as I get, or not the gold mine, to this Fountain of Health, as soon as I get there, I'm going to use Disenchant on my Spirit Walkers and just use one of them and try to hit all my units at once. That's the way you can kind of make Disenchant an effective. I actually used 2 Disenchants there. You want to try to make your Disenchants as effective as possible. I just completed built on a Great Hall, as you'll just see. I got peons starting to populate it right now. I did build a second bestiary, and the idea behind me building a second bestiary this kind of late in the game is I want to go Wyverns. I definitely want to make that switch because Wyverns do extra damage to Dryads and Druids of the Talon, and although all his units can hit air, they're still really, really powerful. Here's again 3 nice ensnares on a Druid of the Talon and 2 archers. It was a really long ensnare on that last archer over there. I'm actually going to have to reapply that to make sure I get the kill, which you'll see right there. So back to what I was talking about with the Wyverns. I think it's kind of, I've seen a lot of players kind of fast rush the Wyverns and get that dual bestiary right at tier 2 instead of opting for the Spirit Lodge approach. I really like the utility purposes of getting a Spirit Walker versus almost all races. Spirit Walkers are just really, really good. Spirit Link is an awesome ability, and I really don't think that you can manage a good-sized Wind Rider army when you don't have an expansion up and running. You'll see even now I'm really kind of hurting for gold. I am having to have rezzed a level 3 Blade Master, but I'm kind of hurting for gold, and I'm not able to, you know, quickly populate this Wind Rider army. Had I done this right at tier 2, it would have been even more difficult. I'm going to have all this air units, but no way to really distribute the damage for that focus fire, take care of fairy fire, and now it's actually going to be Cyclone's going to be an issue. So if you're going to go Wyverns at all, definitely have it in your plans to quickly get an expansion if you haven't got one already, maybe even 2, because they're kind of expensive units to try to keep producing and to get it, and they work really well in mass, so you want to be able to get as many of them out as quickly as possible. In this instance, I have 2, but I think I'm going to build another one here in a little bit. I was low on burrows or something like that. But these 2 Wyverns are actually kind of useless at this point. These 2 Wind Riders, they are going to fall really quickly to all this focus fire from the Druids of the Talon, the Archers, the Dryads, things like that. So I did see my opponent running away, and I figured I could catch him in between him and his base. So I tried to do this attack here. He's got a Cyclone going off my Blade Master. If you're a Night Elf player and you're using Cyclone, definitely want to be able to take out enemy heroes, Blade Master especially, and then you just use your units to focus fire individual raiders first and then grunts. My idea is to try to take out all these units and really try to get my army mixed up in his and try to separate him from his base. Get a snare off on this Keep of the Grove, and I tried to bring my Shadow Hunter in. Finally I get a Hex off and I'm able to kill that Keeper of the Grove. All game long I've been trying to kill that Keeper of the Grove. At this point of the game I've got a significant advantage. It's 38 food to 70 food. I just used Disenchant to try to get rid of Fairy Fire on some of my units, and then I reapplied Spirit Link. Ensnare this Demon Hunter mainly just for scare tactics. I don't want to have to deal with him out in the field. But again, this is still kind of a risky situation for me to be fighting, so I'm trying to make some room, and I'm clearing out some buildings. I do have a serious army advantage, so it's not that much of an issue. This Mountain Giant comes out really far, so I'm going to pull off an ensnare and eventually get this surround off. It's the slowest surround I've ever seen in my life. And it takes forever to kill Mountain Giants with Siege. So he brings us a Whisk to detonate on me. As you'll see, this game's almost over. we can just go ahead and end it, I guess. If you want to see me, I think I